starting?
Maybe. I'm not telling you.
Maybe I should stop looking at my phone.
Maybe.
I don't hear any music, so I don't know that we're... There we go. Okay. Hey, I said it last time, so I think that you should say it this time.
Welcome back to the Why Aren't You Famous podcast with Andrew Grimm and...
Ellen Cherry.
Yay! In this 24-episode podcast, we are discovering exactly why it is we're not famous. When we're really excited.
Wait, is that really the reason why we've been doing this? Because that's not what I've been saying to people. What I've been saying to people is we're just discussing like the reasons why fame is the way it is. Acceptance. We're accepting fame for who it is.
Fame is a person now. Oh.
Just like corporations.
No.
Fame has rights.
It does, man. It doesn't ask. It just takes.
Yeah, we're discussing things centered around fame.
Around fame-like things, and why we don't have fame, and why we don't want fame, and
yes.
Now it is actually, we should change the name of the podcast to like, thank God I ain't famous.
Right. No, but I like the name of the podcast.
Yeah, it is a good name.
Because I like the way the hashtag looks.
Yeah.
If you don't know what a hashtag is, it's a number sign or the pound sign, and then a series of words or letters in which people can apparently search, although I've never searched for a hashtag and no idea how to do that.
Yeah, neither do I.
But I did create one called pound sign WAYF. But you can't put a question mark in a hashtag. I found this out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's trending.
Which I feel like is that's how the bad guys win, is by not allowing you to put punctuation on your hashtags.
You know, the only way to stop a bad guy with a hashtag is a good guy with a hashtag. That's how it works.
So this summer when we made our list of things to write about, we ran out after 19.
Yep.
And we were just like, we'll figure it out later, which we didn't. So this week's topic was blank.
Here we are later.
It's funny how time works.
It is. It keeps going forward.
It passes.
Did you put our name tags out?
I put our name tags out.
Aww.
I wanted to help you prep for the podcast because we've both been busy, and I showed up without my microphone, so I'm speaking into an unfamiliar mic today, but I'm feeling okay about it.
Well, it is an AKG 414.
It's nice.
It is a very nice microphone.
It has my favorite color of light on it.
Green.
What a great color.
It is a great color.
So fortuitous you live on Green Street.
I do live on Green Street.
Oh, no. Is that private information that listeners shouldn't know?
Well, here we are.
Revealing it all.
Yeah, they can look me up on the whois.com for junestar.com and find out where I live.
Don't give them any extra information. You don't even know.
What are they going to do?
Knock on your door a lot?
They're like, where's that non-famous guy?
And be like, I don't understand what this lyric means. Or lyric.
I had a pizza delivered to my house.
Good for you.
Yeah, I know. I'm baby steps towards independence.
Pizza.
But it was like maybe a year ago or something like that. And the pizza guy came, he came up to the porch, and I'm paying him, and he's looking at me and he goes, "You're somebody famous, aren't you?" And I looked at him and I was like, to some people, I guess. That's all I said. And then I closed the door and I did one of those like, yes. Because I guess I look famous, sort of.
You do have a famous look.
I like to think of it as classic, rugged, good looks.
It is classic.
It is. Not rugged or good. I get it. That's fine. Whatever.
Then what I meant to say is it is rugged.
It is rugged. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's a lived-in look. It's like
the lived-in look is one of my favorites.
The distressed look. Yeah, I know he's thinking about getting up on the...
We're not going to have cat battle today.
No, we're not. I know, buddy.
You're just going to have to hold on to him. Okay, so today we're talking about blank.
Blank. So, yeah, free form.
And in honor of that, last night you and I agreed, tacitly, implicitly, to rewatch a wonderful show called Strangers with Candy.
Yeah.
In which the lead character's last name is purposefully, her name is Jerry Blank.
Yeah.
Which I love the fact that, because that's just really a really funny joke. Jerry Blank.
I was a user. Is it boozer user?
It's a user, boozer. Wait, no, it's user, boozer, and a loser. But now I'm back in high school.
And although some of the faces have changed, the hassles are just the same. Yeah.
So we're talking about blankness, blank. Yeah. And actually what I think, it's not about blankness. It's about whatever you wanted it to be about. That was the topic.
Yes, that's about the topic. Meg, you gotta get down, buddy.
Yeah. Meg's got some cat BO going on. So,
spritz him up or something.
I think we should listen to yours first.
Okay.
I'm ready. I think we both have short essays because, well, I know I have a short essay. I can't speak for your essay. Maybe it's just like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
But my essay was brief, and I wrote it quickly, but I actually kind of like it. And I thought all week long, what am I going to write about? And I just thought and thought and thought and thought. Mm-hmm. And I just really, I struggled.
You struggled.
I struggled, but then in a moment of panic yesterday, realizing I had to get it done, I just wrote some shit down. So,
all right.
But I'm still excited for you to listen to it.
Oh, good. So should we listen to yours now that you've talked about yours?
No, I think we should start with yours because I think we did mine first last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, here we go.
All
Andrew
right.
Grimm's Blankness.
A few weeks ago, my band, June Star, did a short tour to Carrboro, North Carolina. We made a little bit of money, laughed a whole bunch, and in general, played pretty well to pretty small crowds. Our last show was at the Steel String Brewery. Now, if you don't know June Star very well, let me just tell you, we're a punk band. Punk being short for punctual. We start on time and end on time, a professional courtesy we've developed over the course of our time in the scene. When I walked into the brewery, through the thick yeasty smell of beer bubbling to life, I approached the bartender to let her know that we had arrived and wanted to load in. Her shock was palpable. Spoken with absolute incredulity, "You guys are here early." I laughed and smirked. "Yeah, we're not really serious musicians. We're from Baltimore." To which she responded, "And you drove all the way down here for this?" What struck me was her tone, a combination of disbelief and derision. I was polite and responded, "Yeah, I've got to talk to our booking agent," which of course is me. I hold nothing against her. I get it. And she was nice and stayed for our set after her shift was finished and came up and talked to me after our show. And that was all cool. But I bring this little anecdote up because I don't think any famous musician ever has to answer that question. "You drove all the way for this?" I guess it's because people leave their homes to go to those Enormo Dome shows, and I'm trying to get into those people's homes to play for them. It is also a subtle and ever-present reminder why I keep participating in this war of attrition. I am creating and then contributing something valuable to the human conversation. I don't have time to argue with anyone on the merits of my songs because I don't really care if some folks think I'm full of shit or if I'm a hack at the guitar. I write songs that I like to hear. I write about things that interest me. I strive for authenticity, and I'm okay with risking embarrassment or vulnerability by publishing these efforts. Mainly because I believe that everyone has a voice. I have chosen a medium that best suits me creatively. And when I have a venue to speak my voice, it is certainly worth the 400-mile drive to someone's house or small batch brewery where someone may be listening.
Yes, I too have driven miles and miles and miles and miles and miles to get to some place and had a similar experience where somebody's been like, "What? You came to this dump?"
Yep. It's almost like, it almost felt like, I know she didn't mean it because it's true, she was nice.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she was meaning it more like.
Well, you used the word incredulity. Incredulity.
Yes. It was almost beyond belief for her. And what's funny is like we played for her a year ago. It's the same bartender.
Short-term memory loss.
Yeah, I was like, but it's like you also get this sense of like, you know, we're not good. Although she doesn't really mean that.
Yeah.
But that's like, it's like you're right. You know, we should just burn your fucking place down is what we should do.
Well, and also the idea that like, okay, one of the things I was thinking about while we were listening to your essay was the idea that, of course, this is important to us, you know, and to you to have driven and booked the show and then gotten your whole band there, which is like 5 people,
right?
And rehearsed and prepared and promoted, and that's important. And the idea that even a smaller venue in a different city is, I don't know. I think when I reflect over the last 22 years of playing, there's been plenty of times when I've been pissed off about like the fact that I booked a shitty gig.
Right.
And then showing up and being like, ugh. But I can't remember any of those gigs where there wasn't at least one person who was like, it's so cool, I happen to be in here, or this is my favorite bar, or whatever, and it was really, you're different, and it changed something in the day for me.
Right.
And I appreciate that. And that little return on investment, that little ROI, if you will,
Ooh.
in business talk, because you know how good I am at business, is... It doesn't make the whole thing worth it, but it definitely makes that moment worth it.
Totally.
And you are happy about it. So when the opposite happens, you just think, well, that person doesn't really have any perspective on what it means to, I'm not trying to write her off, but,
no,
or people like her off, but they don't have any, I don't really want to spend time with people like that because they don't have any perspective on doing something different. Which is what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You're trying to do something different. And the fact that you're satisfied going and driving 400 miles for that gig, bringing your whole band, rehearsing, and that felt like a worthwhile way of spending your time, and that to you is personally satisfying for your life, and makes it worthwhile and gives it meaning.
Right.
It's, I don't know. People are weird.
Well, it's funny because it's like the effort for that show. Like, I didn't spend a lot of effort booking that show because I called Jonathan Lee, who hooked us up with the Wake Forest show at Sugar Magnolia Cafe for the end of our tour.
Yeah.
And he
March 21st.
March 21st in Wake Forest. Damn Lee Boy Productions plus the Guitar Town.
Yes, Guitar Town.
And then
they've been so good at promoting that show too.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and they were doing the promotion for the Steel String Brewery show.
Yeah.
And so it's like all these posters were made. Like he pays this woman to create the posters, and it's a thematic poster. All the posters have the same type of themes to them, and it's very consistent. And he's trying to get the message out there, and he sends all these emails out and links all these things. And then when you get to the venue, and the person's like, "Oh, you're here for this," it's like, well, okay, maybe the venue doesn't understand. Or maybe like somebody didn't talk to somebody at the venue and say, hey,
Yeah.
And that's, once again, whatever, that's fine. Like I long ago gave up on the idea of like somebody else, like thinking that I might, be encouraged by somebody else, because I'm just going to be encouraged by myself.
Yeah.
And, we chose to do this weekend, and we chose to drive down there, and we chose to rehearse, and, it's like, and that show was we played really well at that show. It was great. It was the last show, so we were all kind of really familiar with everything that we were doing, and we were able to free things up, and it sounded good in there. And so it's like, I'm not daunted by those things, but I think it's really funny when people say those things, and you're like, oh man, it's kind of like I really regret not having the page on my website for shit that people say to me, because that would certainly be one of them. Be like, oh, you came here for this. Oh, okay. Because it's just funny that perspective that people have.
And just the idea that like one of the things that we're talking about over the course of this investigation of fame and celebrity in our culture and how it affects us as working musicians, or how we feel it affects us as working musicians, or how we perceive it, is that the idea is that everybody would want to be playing stadiums. And the fact of the matter is that that's also a life of scale.
Yeah.
Those people are not necessarily managing, I mean, we've talked about this before. There's no way that I could possibly even imagine what their lives are like, because I don't know if somebody manages every single element of it for them and is a trusted friend or manager, or what that feels like to relinquish all of that control. To other people, and also just be shepherded from place to place without I don't know, it doesn't look very autonomous to me.
No, it looks very cold, and like
you become part of a real big machine. And
you're a cog
in the wheel.
You're a cog in the machine.
You're just a goddamn cog in the machine.
Well, my cousin Donnie, he got his hand caught in a cog once.
Dear listeners, guess what?
Oh no,
I finally was told by my dear friend Andrew Grimm what the safe word is for his Merlin accent. So now I can stop it if I need to.
If she needs to. But that's the whole thing. Like I'm learning restraint. Well, cousin Donnie was in restraints once. He was down in Bellevue and all.
Okay, so back to your essay.
Right.
I appreciate that you used the war of attrition.
It is. It's always a war of attrition, man. Last man standing, dude. It's like I will. This is like I think my music career is a siege, and it's like I'm just gonna starve people out. Like I'm. It's funny because I was talking to the Society Fringe player guy, Dave Linitude, who is,
Hi Dave,
and because he listens to this podcast, but those guys are just like they're constantly putting material out. I mean, it doesn't stop. And I was joking with Brian Lutz, the other guy in the band, and I said, do you think you guys are ever going to put out like just like a regular normal album? Like not like I wasn't asking them to stop what they were doing, but I was just like, but they've been doing this now for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Like they have 79 episodes, I think, of their podcast, and that are published. Like they do their podcast 2 months in advance.
That's smart.
So they have this whole thing like kind of engineered to just keep going. Yeah. It almost like it's never going to stop.
They have they're stockpiled so they can prepare.
And now they're doing like they're doing a travel log. They had a triple album called Travel Log that they never got finished. So they're finishing that from when they were in Circle 9. And then Dave has this sci-fi. Well, it's all sci-fi stuff because you guys they're really into sci-fi, which is even more entertaining to listen to the podcast because they're talking about like Doctor Who and Firefly and all this other stuff. It's really funny to hear them talk about it because they really tend to nerd out on that stuff. So Dave has this sci-fi musical opera that he's writing, which is called Spaceships, Guns, and Boobies, Interstellar Puncharama.
Wait, he sent me something that I have not yet made time to listen to, so I apologize.
Oh, he might have sent you Act 13.
He sent me Act 13.
Act 13, yeah. It's.
Is it from that one?
No, that's from the last of the rock opera, the big opera that they're doing now.
Okay, gotcha.
Because there was 12 acts, and then their drummer Andy Oakster, who is like the vice president of Guitar Guru now or something like that. Like he's like kind of a big deal. In that fame realm or whatever. I mean, it's not fame, but I mean, he's a nice guy. But not that famous people aren't nice people. But he's like, yeah, I kind of want to do more. So they wrote a 13th act. So yeah, I've been listening to Act 13 because I was supposed to be on their podcast this week, and I just couldn't make it work because I had Stoop Storytellers. I had to do that sound gig, so I was like, yes, couldn't do it. But I'm on next Thursday.
So that they're podcasting. Well, this is our first season, so we are just learning how to prepare and how to do stuff.
I think our preparation was fairly good.
We're just not 2 months ahead.
We're not. We don't have to be 2 months ahead.
That's true. We're not them.
We're not them.
We're ourselves.
This is our own podcast.
Yeah, Society Fringe players, take that.
Yeah.
We're pound sign WAYF ?
Yeah, you're just an SFP, whatever. But my whole point about those guys is,
and the war of attrition.
And the war of attrition is that we are, they're not giving up.
Yeah.
Like people long ago would say to them, why are you doing this? What's the point? What's the point? And Dave's he has a vision, and he writes a lot, and he reads a lot.
Well, that's what's confusing, is that I think that the end goal for most people is to be on, not most people, plenty of people, I think in their minds think that my end goal is to be on television.
Right.
And
which you already did that.
Yeah.
You were an Emmy Award nominated advertisement.
That's right. It was a team effort.
It was a team effort.
And I'm honored to be
ad campaign.
Yes.
Campaign that you solely wrote.
By myself completely. I filmed it outside. I did my own makeup. I invented television. And then I put it on television. Everyone knows that.
That's how it goes, man. I don't think any of that was true.
There is like a hair on this pop filter or on my face. That is...
Oh.
Okay, I think I got it.
Okay.
Oh, God, I can't stand that sometimes when that happens.
Oh, I hear you.
Okay.
It's the worst.
I'm back. Yeah, the defining of my own... So I want to talk about that a little bit, because it has taken me a long time to really define what my actual goals are, because I fell into being a musician. I did not go to school for this and think I'm going to become a songwriter. It was just something that was always on the side, and then and that I kept going and doing like you did. Both of us have sort of a similar trajectory that way, that we had other jobs.
Right.
And then to do this full time since 2004, even for probably another 6 years, it's not that I wasn't taking it seriously. It's that I didn't know how to take it yet. It was still new to me, and I was still sort of stumbling along. But even with all of the knowledge that I feel like I've gained in the last 14 years since that happened, that I've been doing it full time, I still feel like I can't get myself to care about the path that would take me to that type of success, that definition of success. I just can't care about it.
Well, I think the definition of success really just, it's so limiting.
Yeah.
I mean, I of course, like somebody could say, well, that's sour
fame,
grapes.
yeah, fame is so limiting.
It is, because then like all of your output then is based on whether or not this is going to be propelling you to another realm of fame.
Yeah, or that, and totally depend. And it's very much contingent on other people's opinions.
And then not only that, but like the trends of popularity.
Yes.
Like what, some of the stuff is, things go out of fashion.
Yes.
And people stop buying it. I mean, hair
not
metal.
necessarily in my closet, but yes, I understand the concept of that.
Yes. No, you are currently.
No, I'm saying I'm not.
Oh, you're totally out of fashion.
Totally.
I have no idea what you're saying right now. My phone is buzzing, and I'm getting nervous because I have a gig tonight. So
okay.
I'm going to look at this.
Why don't we just take a break and we'll pause and listen to my essay? And
then I want you to talk while I'm looking at my phone.
Listeners, I'm rolling my eyes so hard.
Oh my goodness, it hurt. Yeah.
Oh my God, roll.
Whoa.
Let's just pause.
Slow your roll.
Let's just pause for a second so you can.
Well, why don't we'll throw on your essay.
Okay.
And because everybody knows that I'm turning our microphones off, and then I'm rearranging stuff. So we're gonna pause.
Yeah, we'll pause. You can look at your phone because obviously it's more important than what's happening right now. But I'm cool with it. It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry
Here we
about
go.
me.
Hope y'all enjoy my essay. Which I wrote in like literally 10 minutes. Blank.
Death? ?
I like that yours actually had a topic, so just lower your expectations.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes. The meandering Ellen Cherry.
Here we go.
All right.
The word blank can be an adjective, a noun, a verb, and an idiom. A blank surface, like a sheet of paper, has no marks, nothing written on it. It has no information, or maybe it is more accurate to say that it is communicating silence. Blank can indicate where something is lacking, an empty space or a gap in one's memory. It can mean to erase or delete, to blank something out, or a failure to comprehend. I am drawing a blank. There's a beautiful sounding synonym for the word blank, lacuna, which is defined as a blank space or a missing part. For our upcoming tour, I hired a talented graphic designer named Amanda Ray to reimagine the promotional photo that Andrew Grimm and I have been using for this podcast, and she created a very eye-catching version. Colorful, bright, playful, it captures the spirit of these conversations we've been having around fame and the aspects of our personalities that we let shine through in the podcast. I think I like looking at the image she created because it is so very two-dimensional and so obviously not real. I am keenly aware of the gap, the missing space between those drawn images and the people that we really are. When I think about the way famous people are sometimes presented to us, either as marketing tools or as models of behavior, there is a noticeable lacuna that is somehow loud and absolutely not communicating silence. The gap, the missing part between what we see and hear about famous people and the people that they really are, is for us to fill in, and we do. And that's quite dangerous because human beings are, by nature, imaginative and also self-interested. The stories we make up to fill in those gaps serves us and erases them. I don't want to have a life with nothing written on it, to leave this world without having marks made on me and having made marks of my own. And although I think the rest is one of the most important symbols in written music, I don't want to leave this world having communicated silence.
That was a really good essay.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was definitely short and succinct.
Yeah.
But I like the whole idea of blank, you know, and without using like, you know, some sort of blanket definition on everything. I was trying to think of like how I could
put the word blank and blanket in there.
Yep.
Nicely done, Mr. Grimm.
Well, you know, shooting blanks these days, and that's probably not the.
That's more information than the listeners need to know.
TMI.
Which, if you're not aware, that sounds for too much information. And # WAYF # stands for # Why aren't you famous? Anyway.
Anyhow, yeah, no, it's a really great concept. The idea of like the
I could not think of a topic, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and write about blank.
Yeah, well, and it's true. Like, I think that there is that kind of almost dehumanizing blank between famous people and because they don't seem like real people.
Yeah.
And there's that, you know, we know that they're real people, but they're not presented as real people.
Yeah, and we're filling stuff in.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, you know,
which is about us.
Sure.
The stuff that we fill in is totally about us, not about them.
Is our interaction or our introduction with whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's that ownership of the song. Like when you meet a famous person and they turn out to be, you know, a jerk, and you're like, but they were so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I love their music, but they're awful people. Or
they're a terrible villain, and then you end up like seeing an interview with them, and you're like, oh wow, that was acting.
Yeah.
They're like an actor or something.
Well, they're really good at that. You know. So I think that's a really interesting point of view. And then when bringing it back to yourself, saying like, what do you really want?
Yeah.
In the world, what, you know, of course, you know. I mean, I don't mean. Like,
I don't want to be subject to that blank.
No, you shouldn't be.
I don't want to be subject to somebody else erasing what I have done. So when we were talking about Society Fringe players and their prolific output, which you are also very prolific in your recorded works and written works, and I am not as prolific, but that's okay. I'm a different person with a different process. There's the idea of communicating silence to. We talked about this before because we had a topic of legacy.
Right.
And what is your legacy that you're leaving behind? Abraham Lincoln doesn't have any control over the fact that they use his image to sell cars and mattresses and stuff like that.
I have a feeling he'd be okay with it.
I don't know. He wouldn't be okay with it, especially like the jokey way, because even though it seems he had a sense of humor and a playful personality at times, and very, very obviously brilliantly intelligent.
And then bringing it to full circle from last night. Party on, dudes!
Wait, what from last night?
Because you were saying just be cool to one another.
Oh, that's right.
Be cool to yourself, which is
so
excellent.
To clue everyone in, Grim and I had a gig last night. Basically considering it the first night of the tour, even though we don't leave for another 9 or 10 days for the actual tour. We were playing in a brewery last night, and I don't even know how I got on the subject of Jesus.
You're talking about you're talking about the poster.
Oh, that's right, and how spiritual you look in the poster.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about, Jesus, and how we messed up his vision.
Right.
I mean, I like to think of him as a historical fictional character, and I know that some people would disagree with that, but it doesn't matter. The message of it is, like, it's supposed to be cool. Just be cool. He came to Earth to tell everyone, be cool. And that we fucked that up right away.
Immediately.
We were like, no, he meant be cool and 600 other things.
Right.
And it's like, no, the message of it is...
Because I was speaking with God personally, and God told me that, like,
that Jesus got it wrong. He wasn't... He was supposed to say all this other stuff.
What Jesus really meant was that not you people bad.
If you have a vagina, you're not allowed to do this.
Oh my goodness. And you know what? If you happen to be gay...
Yes, definitely not you.
Ooh,
you
boy.
do not get to... We don't get to be cool to you.
And you just look weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're a plant.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to be cool to you.
Right.
Anyway, sidetrack.
Yes.
The thing that... I love the word lacuna. It's
a good word.
It's one of my favorite words. I don't know.
Lacuna Matata.
Because it just makes me think of space and water and openness, but I had never associated it when I looked up the word blank and was like, oh, the synonym for it is lacuna. This is interesting. The missing part and the little leap that people make between what they actually know and what they imagine, and how dangerous that can be when it's ascribed to somebody whose mind, anyone other than yourself, because you can't be in anybody else's mind. Doesn't matter how much they tell you.
Nope, it's true.
Remember that movie Strange Days?
I only saw like the first 10 minutes.
We gotta watch it. Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, amazing, so good. Juliette Lewis is also in it, but they have this technology of this sort of web that you put on your head, and you can record what you see here, and your parasympathetic system too also registers, so that you can record it onto these little cards. Somebody else can wear it and see, hear, and feel and experience what you experienced. And, as we get closer to virtual reality and nanobots and things like that happening, where you would put something in someone's bloodstream to help them experience something or cure cancer.
Right.
Like, as we get closer to that technology, which I think it's amazing in some ways and also terribly frightening to think about, that there will be somebody controlling your experiences and filling in those gaps, and actually we would be able to know what is in someone else's mind based on that type of revelation, or that that type of scientific revelation, rather than trying to guess what somebody feels, but just based on their musical output or the things they say in a speech or the way that they act on in a picture or whatever.
Right.
So that's what was fascinating to me about this concept of blankness and the lacuna, the gap between who I really am and what I present, and having control over that. And I won't, there'll be a time when I actually cease to breathe and exist, and then somebody else will be telling my story.
Right.
And that's it. Anyway, it won't matter to me because I'll be across the Rainbow Bridge with my little dog Morgan.
Oh. Not Zoe.
It would be cool to see her. I love that dog, but she's pretty independent and also possibly a sociopath.
Wow.
Shouldn't disparage her. She was very, very sweet at the end.
Yes, she was. She just slept all the time.
Yes.
She's very sweet when she wasn't conscious.
When she wasn't conscious, anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think the whole thing about, like, if you fill in the blanks of your story, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And then, the whole, even like, because I've been teaching a long time, and I always had students.
Everyone knows you're quite elderly.
I am old. I am an old man.
You're an old ma'am.
I'm an old man. Yeah, funny. But like whenever I gave a test or something, students would be like, "Oh, is it multiple choice?" I'm like, the hell, it's multiple choice? No, it's not multiple choice. Why would I give you multiple choice?
Here's a blank space, and you have to actually write in it.
You have to show me what you know. You know, your voice has to inhabit that. You know, it was always my exams have always been essays and short answers, and you know, you have to work with the material. You have to bring the material forth. You have to, you know, have studied it and think about it, and then you have to manipulate it with your voice to demonstrate a depth of knowledge and integration with, you know, ideas. And
you are bringing up something really important to me.
Oh, is it Meg?
It's writing.
Oh yeah.
It's writing, and how when I think about test taking as a child, as a young person, and how stressful it was to have to sit there and try to formulate those thoughts in a brief amount of time. That's a lot of pressure. And the stuff that I always did better on was where I had time to reflect. And what a gift it is to have been told and taught how to have a thought at the beginning, you know, a premise, a hypothesis or theory, a statement, and then following it up with evidence in the content of a few paragraphs, and then circling back and reemphasizing why what you just said relates to the first thing that you just said.
Right.
And that, when you see that type of writing, and I'll tell you who has been doing it in spades, in my observation, in the last 10 years, are comedians.
Oh yeah.
Who are having these specials, which are circular. Mike Birbiglia is one of my favorites. He has this great special called My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. And it is a circle. It's a one-man show, brilliantly written circle, but he goes off on these tangents, but he returns to the main circle in the offshoot of these tangents. And then he also, like, at the end, the tying of the whole story together is brilliant. Dave Chappelle, same deal. Over the series of his last 4 specials, discussing why he left comedy, and in such a brilliant way. That type of reflection takes time.
It does.
And I worry. I'm not actively worrying about it, but what I've observed is that the reason why our culture, to me, I want to go positively here. Okay. Why it's so precious and important when you discover something amazing and you want to share it, like when we were talking a couple episodes ago about the Kendrick Lamar song. When you really read the lyrics of that song, it is about, I don't know, in my interpretation of it, it's about not only like loving yourself, but loving yourself out of a deep place of intergenerational trauma, systemic racism, and depression, and talking about that as a Black man and admitting that you have depression and that it's soul annihilating, and how do you deal with it and how do you survive in the world, and to handle it poetically like that, and talk about, he makes several biblical references in there but are not explicitly about being religious, but just the idea, the personification of Satan. And he talks later about, like, I tried to follow what the good book said, and it's revelatory, and he could not have written that without reflection and time and thoughtfulness. And when you see it, it's just so brilliant and amazing. And is edifying the right word?
Yeah, edifying.
Edifying, like satisfying.
Instructive.
Yeah, instructive and satisfying, and hopeful, because there's so much of that not happening that gets fucking celebrated.
Oh yeah.
And like the
My
same
milkshake.
Well, I like that song. But just you played some piece of crap song for me by a country band.
Oh yeah, the Florida Georgia Line.
This is how we roll.
This is how we roll.
And like that piece of shit, like I just we talked about, we watched the video.
Shooting bullets at the moon.
And there's like,
I should do a version of that with
is that
my
line
cousin
in
Donnie.
there?
Yeah.
Okay, because that actually happened when I saw the totality of the eclipse this summer. A dude across the country road,
He was probably listening to that song.
Shot bullets during the
I'll take that goddamn eclipse down.
Oh my God. Anyway.
This is how
and
we
so
roll.
in the Arbutus. That's a safe word, everyone. Somebody write it down so I don't forget it again.
I don't think you'll ever forget it.
So the just having these little glimmers of absolutely deep reflection presented in music and comedy helps keep at bay complete desperation over the bankrupt majority of culture that people are consuming. And that I think that's why those little life rafts for people who are thinking and feeling really feel important. And also people who are not necessarily that interested in it do recognize that it can, like it's life raft qualities. They may think like, oh, that is good, but I'm going to still, buy this song because it's promoting Pepsi or whatever. I don't know. Anyway,
Right.
I went off on a freaking tangent there.
Yeah, it was a
Crazy.
lengthy tangent.
Yes.
But very good.
Thanks.
I agree.
So speaking of fame,
Yes, fame.
we picked a song that I was listening to earlier this week that I have loved for a long time. I went to college in Arkansas, and I know where Hope, Arkansas is. I've been to Hope several times, so I understand the context of the author, John Nolan, of this beautiful song, having this tale that he tells about his band being on tour outside of Hope, Arkansas. The writing in it is great. It's clever. It has wordplay, and I just think that the song should be famous.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Kendrick Lamar of Newmarket, New Hampshire.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, very, very, very. And John Nolan is a really nice guy. He's a good songwriter. He's he's definitely gone through a lot of this stuff too. The kind of like trying to find success, because his band Say Zuzu,
Yep.
they were kind of like, they were on a touring tier, and they did a lot of, they were doing a lot of stuff. They were kind of getting started around the same time as the Drive-By Truckers and Slobberbone and all those guys. And then obviously Drive-By Truckers blew up, Slobberbone kind of imploded, and then Say Zuzu, even before like it got to a certain level, those guys decided to call it quits. And then it was tough. I mean, they were touring a lot and they were doing some really cool stuff, but then I think they, other things kind of got in the way. And when I met John Nolan in 2004, I think is when I met him. Maybe 2003, 2004. He was just trying to put his stuff together. He was trying to get his solo stuff together, and he's gone through. You can some of his Facebook threads. Maybe it was Facebook. I'm pretty sure it was Facebook. Some of those threads, he was kind of like, I don't know how do people do this? Like, I don't understand. And because here you have a perfectly talented singer songwriter guy who's smart and does really, his production on his records are really good, and but can't get a foot in the door anywhere to take it to a level, because he has kids and a wife and all this other stuff, so they have bills and things, and but you can't make a living like that. Like, the only reason I can make a living as a musician is because I got 2 cats. That's it. And you had a dog.
Yeah. But no, and I'm celebrating the fact that like my living expenses are about to shrink again because I've decided to move to an even smaller apartment, and
just living in the thimble, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but it's also really, personally, I think it's a really good thing for me, because I had a period of expansion of my material possessions for about 2 decades, and to pare down, not to be forced to do it, but to force myself to do it has been really important, because I was looking into the future and I was like, what do I really, really want? Well, I really want a place to like keep some of my stuff safe, but also to be free to travel, because I just want to see stuff, and that's going to be my definition of success, and but yeah, I didn't know that John had talked about that stuff. It is jarring. It's not jarring, I think, for you and I to talk about it, because we talk about it every week, and so we sort of desensitize ourselves to it a little bit, where we're like, oh, this is it's like, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Jeez.
We commiserate, not desensitize, but we commiserate with each other about how we're going to be successful, and our definitions of success change from week to week, because you're just like, yeah, we had a good gig last night. It was good. We made some money for the tour. We got paid.
No, we did great. Our GoFundMe is like out of control. We can talk about that during the tour stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stop you short, because I think we do. I think earlier on in our friendship and our touring partnership stuff, we did commiserate. But I think now it's more of like a reaffirmation of like
just acceptance.
It's like, well, it's kind of like we don't really complain about those shows. I mean, we were talking about your Kennedy Center show that you just did, and there are certain expectations that might not have been met for you, but I watched the show online, and the show was completely a success. And so whenever, when we talked about it, I was like, no, you killed it. It was great. I mean, of course, there are some mistakes that are made, whatever. I mean, you're a human being, but you rehearsed, and it really showed that you had rehearsed. And, for somebody who's seen you play a lot, I know. I know. And it's just the same for you. Like, you hear me play, and you're like, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta go and practice. And you're like, no, it's, this is really cool. Yeah. And so I don't think commiserate, I think that's kind of like we're sitting around bitching about it. Yeah. To make ourselves feel better. But it's more, I think, it's become this reaffirmation dynamic that happens, and I think a lot of people need that. I don't know if people get that as much. Yeah. And they,
we're lucky.
Right. And so for our next podcast, we're going to go ahead and bring in people who need reaffirmation. Our next season will be like, why aren't you famous? It's okay.
That should be season 2.
Season 2. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat the fame stuff. Yeah. Because it's all bullshit.
It is all bullshit.
All right, let's listen to John Nolan.
Sitting on the side and watching all the cars go by, looking at our own rig sitting fairly low, while the bass player and I grabbed our shit and sat nearby, and the other two took off to get a tow. Still the sun was cheery and I tried to call my dearie, but she wasn't home and I hung up feeling cold. So I sat down in the grass, thought to myself and had a laugh, and resigned myself to sitting by the road. Yeah, 'cause we just can't buy no luck for $1 million. And I'm always wondering if it's all she wrote. 'Cause if it's $100 for luck, we still ain't got it. Beaten up and broken down outside of hope. Beaten up and broken down outside of hope. My friend gave me a ring, oh yes, those blessed modern things. He said, I think you'll be up running for too long. He said, there's irony in this. Broke down outside of Hope, Arkansas. Guess that I should thank him for this song. Yes, there's irony in this, it's fair to mention. And it can be a song someday if it gets wrote. Still I've found you can't drive irony to Houston when you're beaten up and broken down outside of Hope. Beaten up and broken down outside of Hope. I ain't sick yet of rock and roll, just robbing Ringo to pay Paul and all the other sordid indignities that I have found. So if you're in a rockin' band, stuck somewhere, broke down outside your van, and your wallet has become a formality, brother, I know it don't feel nice, sister, when you pay the price, but you're in the club a rock and roller just like me. Even if you can't buy luck for $1 million, even if you're wondering if it's all she wrote, and if it's one thin dime for luck and you still ain't got it, you may be beaten up but you ain't broken down outside of hope. Beaten up and broken down outside of hope. Beaten up and broken down outside of hope.
So many good lines.
When your wallet has become a formality.
When you're in, like when he talks about the brothers and sisters in the rock and roll club, if this has happened to you. the robbing
And
Ringo to pay Paul.
Yeah.
His voice at the end when he does the ho ho whoop. So well done, and
So true.
And he references a cell phone without saying a cell phone, which I thought was clever, and that idea of being on the road far away from just a friend calling you and being like, hey, here's some perspective. It seems shitty right now. You'll probably make it. Don't worry.
Right.
But I don't know. And just the acceptance of like sitting there and waiting. Cause I have been in that position before where you've just been like, I just have to wait.
Yep.
I can't, there's nothing you can do. The van is broke.
Yep. We broke down outside of Petersburg, Virginia, which is not as poetic as Hope. But we were driving back from Chapel Hill. This is like 5 years ago, 2013. And we just played North Carolina. And we drove all the way down there for that. And then and
they probably were like, you drove all the way here for that?
Yeah, well, just to break down in Petersburg. And the alternator went out in the van. And so Katie was with us. It was like the first show that Katie ever played with us. And then there was like a 5-year gap.
I was gonna say, wait a second, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 5 years ago. And
she was like, I don't want to be in this band.
Right. Well, she had AAA. So
good.
We called AAA, and then the guy showed up with this huge flatbed towing truck, and he had room for five people, and he was like, well, you're not want to stay over that hotel over there because it's a sketchy place. So we'll take you over to Pep Boys tomorrow. I was like, what? Pep Boys? I don't want to go to Pep Boys. And he's of course, I'd tow you back to Maryland tonight, but you wouldn't be able to afford it. And I said, well, how much is that? And he said, $300. I was like, hold on. I went to an ATM. I pulled out this gas station. I pulled out $300. I was like, here you go, dude. And he towed us all the way back to Westminster, Maryland.
Did you guys all ride in the truck?
Yeah, that guy was terrible. He was a racist. And it was funny because like we get in the truck and we're driving away, and I'm sitting up front, and Kurt, Katie, and Dave Hadley were sitting in the back seat, and it was big. It was a brand new truck. It was pretty comfortable actually. And the guy was talking. He goes, yeah, well, my name's blah blah blah, but people call me Bear. And Kurt goes, why do they call you Bear? He goes, well, I got hit by a car twice. And Kurt says, well, maybe they should call you a speed bump. One of the finer moments of being on the road. But yeah, it's like, you break down. It's like there's the idea of reality.
Yep.
The realness of like, oh shit, what do we do?
Yeah. Yes.
So take that. We don't have to go any further with that. We just let it go there. So
tour starting. Is this our last one before tour?
No, I think we have one more.
We're doing one next week?
I think we're doing one next week.
Let me look at the schedule while you talk about the tour for a second. Why don't you promote the GoFundMe page?
The GoFundMe page. Okay, well, if you go to gofundme.org / big motherfucker. No.
Cat drama.
Damn, dude.
We got almost through the whole episode without him jumping on the computer. You're going to have to bleep out your...
Yeah, I know.
Being mean. I guess you don't because it's not safe for work lyrics. Who cares?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, man, that makes me mad. I love that cat. I love him to death, but I hate it when he does that.
It's kind of annoying.
It's kind of annoying and kind of destructive to my stuff.
It is destructive to yourself because he doesn't do when you're not here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. How would you know?
The computer's always closed and when I'm not here. Anyhow, yes, our tour. Let me just de-escalate for a second.
Yes, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
And my phone's frozen, so it's like not gonna work anyway.
Well, let me see if I can find it on mine too. So GoFundMe.org / WAYF tour. We have raised $2,200 so far.
No, this is it. Blank.
Oh, really?
The next one is tour update 1.
Wow.
But it's actually the day before our tour starts, so that doesn't really make sense. Well, I guess maybe what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to.
Well, let's be honest with ourselves. We never published a schedule.
That's true.
So we can do whatever the hell we want.
That's true. So maybe we should just say that we're gonna post one on the first week of the tour.
Yes.
This will be the week of the March 5th.
Yes. So there's gonna be a 2-week gap.
Yes.
Yep.
No.
Well, sort of.
Like, this is coming out Monday, and then we basically, like, yeah,
Yeah.
10 days. Everything's 10 days.
Everything's 10 days with you these days.
Yes, we have a few gaps we're trying to fill in, but
Yes.
that's okay. Even if we do have gaps, we've done pretty good on planning this tour.
We've done really well.
I'm super excited because I started promoting it with our new poster by Amanda Ray, which she's available to you at on Instagram at @Nan Ray, NANWRAY, and I sent her I mentioned this in my essay, the promotional pic that we've been using for the last couple months for this podcast, and she made a cool poster, so definitely hire her. She's amazing. She was such an incredible person to work with.
Yep.
She was so easy. She really wanted us to be happy with the way that it looked.
Yep.
And I think
totally cool with feedback.
yes, and I'm excited. People at the gig last night wanted to take the poster with
Yep.
them, so
Yeah, it was totally cool.
but I've done Facebook events. Everything should be up on the website, which is whyaren'tyoufamous.org. And yes, we do still have a few
gaps.
gaps, but we also have a few places of people can support on the tour that we're going to be doing personal podcasting.
Yep.
And I gotta get to work on that schedule.
Yep. And we may hit some, if we have to hit some open mics, we may hit some open mics. But
Yeah.
But right now it looks like maybe our open dates are March 11th.
Is that true?
No, that's not true. I take that all back. That's Springfield, Illinois.
March 13th.
March 13th.
Hoping for Dallas.
Hoping for Dallas.
March 16th and 17th.
And maybe the 19th.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a gray area there.
Okay.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
I'm trying to get something. There's a brewery that I think we can probably play.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
hoping we can sneak in somewhere. Yeah, and it really feels like the tour is coming together. The money's in place, which is really kind of important because neither of us really have job type jobs that play all our job stuff. So
Bills.
it's kind of the bills and stuff.
So thank you to every single person who has given $1.
I can't even and I'm so impressed with how there's some big donations.
Mom and Pop. Thanks, Mom and Pop.
Yep, my dad hasn't contributed yet.
But we're going to challenge him because my parents
Yeah, your
donated a large amount.
Dad, are you going to take that from Texas, Dad? You can take that from them.
You got to show Merlin what Merlin can do.
Yeah, you call my cousin Donnie.
He should be donating.
Oh, he donated in spirit. He donated. Well, he did a donation once at a hospital. He had to go in his small room that had magazines in it. And the magazines had pictures of girls.
Arvidas.
Meg's going through your coat right now, by the way.
Oh, okay. There's nothing in there of interest to cats.
Mm.
So it is exciting to have had the support that we have for that tour cost. And I really do, I'm hoping that we're not going to exhaust people, but I really do think I'm going to do this every single time because it is such a relief. I don't think that people understand what a relief it is to know that we are leaving, knowing that if we don't have to starve ourselves on the road just to make rent and mortgage.
Right.
We the money that we're actually going to earn at shows will be income and be able to be put towards next month's expenses the way that regular people do it with jobs who get raises after 20 years. They are able to plan for stuff, and it's amazing, and I'm proud of us for doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm really, 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 really super grateful because it is such a relief to also know that we can go out and say, we're tired, we've just driven 4 hours, 5 hours, played a show, left everything on the field, and we don't have to we can sleep in nice beds. And that is a great gift. So thank you.
We don't have to wince at running a credit card.
Yeah.
Because it's, at the end of the day, you do what you have to do, but you don't want to have to keep going back to that freaking well every single time.
Yeah.
And then there's you're just pushing off debt till later and blah 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 blah.
And the overarching part of that for me is the idea of relaxing into the experience and putting on a lot better shows.
Right.
Because there's not this constant feeling of well, do I really deserve $1.59 coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, or can I just drink whatever coffee is
brown
available?
and water.
Yeah.
Pilot brown and water.
Yeah. And
Rusty Lovin'.
to make
That's
it
what I call
actually to make it enjoyable so that you and I perform better, which is something that people who, and we've talked about this before, everything is to scale, but when you look at with the way that a famous musician tours, they may not be, what they're focusing on is their performance.
Right.
And this feels like a step in the right direction to be able to focus on really having great shows and feeling rested and focusing our energy on and flying, basically flying at the shows. And maybe you can fly and I'll swim. We'll be like the Wonder Twins, form of an eagle and a bucket of water.
Right. But that was always the worst. Ice bridge.
Somebody had something that was actually useful, and then the other person had to be something like, and a booger from a homeless man's nose.
Oh, wow. Why did it have to be homeless? Why couldn't it just be
a school teacher?
Right, there you go. Yeah, while he's trying to get kids to do the homework, and they're all laughing at him because he has no dignity.
Because there's a booger.
But he has a gun.
God.
Okay, I'm not. We're not going there. But I'm just saying. Just saying.
Shoot that booger right out of your own nose. Show that booger his boss.
Boss. I'm the booger boss here.
God. Oh,
okay.
Someday we'll hit the ceiling of peak ridiculousness.
Someday,
Yes.
but not before other people in charge of the government. All right, well,
Yes.
that's enough. That's enough for me. We're gonna start winding things down.
Yes.
Well, we've been winding down ever since we started talking about the tour.
Yep.
So Ellen Cherry, I'm curious.
You're in the forest of the internet.
I am lost.
Wandering, lost,
you know
looking
what?
for a beacon of light.
Right, and if there's some way for me to let's just say Google's not working.
Yes.
And I gotta go right to the URL.
Yes.
And what would I type in?
You would type in http:// www.
Stop it.
Dot.
No way.
Ellen ELLENCHERRY.com.
Wow.com.
Or you could simply just go to ellencherry.com. It would also take you there. And then I have a subscription service.
Oh, tell us all about it.
I will, because I believe you actually listened to some of the essays this
I did.
week.
They're really good.
Thanks. I've been writing essays slowly over time to let go of, I don't know how you say this word, detritus?
Detritus.
Yeah.
That's correct.
That I consider like leftover paperwork from my car wreck from 5 years ago, and just memories and sort of ritualizing the letting go process. And so I've been writing these essays and seeing what they bring up. And I'm working on one now that feels, I'm finally ready to finish it. There was a gun in the car with me. My passenger owns a gun, and it was on him because he has a concealed handgun license in Texas, and it was in the car wreck with us. And I discovered this in the ambulance when a police officer disarmed him because you can't go to the hospital with a gun. And well, at that time you couldn't go to the hospital with a gun.
Yeah, now you can.
I don't know. It's different. I don't know I'm pretty sure in the open carry, even with open carry in Texas, you can't go into a medical facility, especially if they have signs posted. So I wanted to fire the guns, and I wrote an essay based on what it was like to have that experience, because I'd never fired guns before. And last week's shooting in Florida, again, another mass shooting. And of course the shooter had this weapon called an AR-15. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So
well, they've been saying AR-15 style, but
okay, so
there's no difference.
Yeah.
Although somebody would say, "Well, this one."
Yeah. So I'm going to finish up my essay for this month's subscription service. But I actually think I'm going to allow, and hopefully my supporters are okay with this, but I'm going to publish that one for everyone to listen to once I finish it this week. So yeah, but you can find that at ellencherry.bandcamp.com. And I've also been doing other little songs in there. Songs and just writing. I try to produce 2 items a month for my subscribers. It's $4 a month, and you support the stuff that I'm creating. And a lot of changes have been happening for me personally that I feel like are freeing my energy and my spirit up to be more productive and creative. So that's good.
Right on.
Yeah. What about you? If I was wandering aimless on the internet and I needed to hear the voice of reason.
Ooh.
I needed to hear a gruff but instructional and tender set of lyrics about heartfelt, about a topic that I don't think about very often. Love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you would find that at I'm not even going to comment. You would find that at http www.junester.com. Wow, that was good. We're in tune on that one, you know. And that's the June Star website. That has some updated dates. I have to put all of our tour dates on there. That's what I'm going to do next, and I got to put that into my song kick as well, my artist thing. And then you can also find all my stuff at junestar.bandcamp.bandcamp.com. And I have a subscription service, $5 a month, gets you everything I've ever put out except for one terrible, awful first record. And then I've been doing, last year I did 52 original songs as incentives that are subscription only. And then this year I'm doing public domain songs, which I have fallen a little bit behind the past couple weeks. So before we go on tour, I have to get all that
hunker
stuff.
Down.
I got to hunker down, and I'm just going to publish it all at once.
Remove all distractions and focus.
Let me tell you, it's a distracting time to be alive, which is fine, but it's alive to be. What a time to be alive and distracted. Maybe is a better way of thinking about it. But all good distractions, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing.
I would also
negative.
like to invite anyone who's in the Baltimore area to March 24th, which will be our final night of the show. Our
season finale.
Season finale. We are recording our podcast live at the 4 Hour Day Lutherie on Harford Road. The details are on the tour page at whyaren'tyoufamous.org, and you are welcome to join us an hour before the show. We'll start at 6 o'clock. We'll tape from 6 to 7, and then the show will start. You're going to play, I'm going to play, and our friend Matt Monta from Columbus, Ohio is going to be there and playing as well. We'll probably involve him in the podcast, but it's going to be fun to do it before a live audience.
What? It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Crazy. Well, until 2 weeks from now, 10 days from now.
Yes. Yeah, 10 days.
10 days
think,
from
right?
10 days.
What's today? Saturday.
Today's Saturday.
Leave on Tuesday.
Today's the 24th.
Yeah.
So, and we'll be doing Facebook Live updates as we go along too.
I hope that you'll join us, everybody, because I'm really looking forward to this tour. It's gonna be fun.
Yep, should be a good time.
I'll see you there.
All right, yeah, I'll see you in the car. It was Milhouse who said that. He went on vacation with the Simpsons. I'm just gonna follow this to the end because it's funny.
Okay, good. There's no stopping you. I don't have a safe word for the Simpsons references.
But they go to the beach for the summer, and Bart brings Milhouse as his friend, and they're signing all their friends are signing Lisa's like yearbook or whatever. Was it Perspectivus? It's the name of the yearbook, and they all signed it like, you know, Lisa, see you, Lisa, you're the best, you're the coolest, and then Milhouse signs it, see you in the car, Milhouse. It's really funny. So I'll see you in the car.
See you in the car.
All right.